I'm just getting out to a service call for no heat. The building basically wasn't keeping up to temperature. They said yesterday it was like keeping it at like 50 degrees, and then today it was like they couldn't get it above 68. So I could tell something was trying to work, but they didn't really know what was going on or what they even really had for equipment. So I eventually tracked down where it was, had to get up here on the roof. Got up here, I decided to start on this unit here. On this side, the thermostat said heating and auxiliary heat. This side was doing a little bit better than the other side. And what I saw was the heat pump was running, the heat pump portion of it was running up here. Just kind of did a quick feel test here, and then I felt the lines off the compressor. I could tell everything was, just doing a feel test, I could tell everything was at least roughly close to what it should be doing. So I just kind of kept going through to see what else might be going on. I did a quick amp draw down here on this wire in my electric strip heat area, and it was drawing 0 amps. So then I checked my voltage going here on those 2 leads, and I had 0 volts, which I basically traced back to these disconnects, and they're actually labeled pretty good and correctly, which was nice. So this one here, I opened this one up. I had 0 volts coming from the breaker panel box. I went downstairs and basically found that the breaker was tripped. It was correct. It was supposed to be 80 amps according to the service panel over here. I have 80 amp fuses in here, but it was tripped, and I eventually got it to reset. Even with this disconnect off, it was just kind of having issues resetting. I'm pretty sure that the breaker is bad. It was kind of in a really ghetto looking breaker panel box. But everything was labeled nice here, so I was able to find the panel and which panel it was in, because there was multiple panels down there. So I don't see anything. I've had it running now for a while since I reset it, and it hasn't tripped or done anything weird. My amps are where they're supposed to be. We do have a electrical department with our shop, and I'm probably gonna have an electrician just come out, and I'm probably gonna write up for a new breaker just because it was acting so weird trying to reset it, just to be kind of on the safe side. So I think partially what was going on with how this heat pumps work is every time it was going into defrost, it was basically just blowing cold air in the space, since it wasn't energizing the electric strip heat to counterbalance that going into defrost. So seeing that, I definitely think that's what's going on this side, because this side it was definitely, like I said, doing better at keeping up than the other side. This is a new site to us, so I kind of investigated on some other stuff a little bit here. One thing I did see when I opened up the filter side, because I did check the filter, it's one of the first things I always check on a new site. The filters aren't terrible, but I did see that the economizer is not hooked up whatsoever. The Belimo for the economizer is not hooked up whatsoever. So that is one thing I might bring up. It doesn't even look like they actually put in the correct economizer. There's supposed to be a different economizer for side discharge, which is what this is, and they actually have one for coming out of the bottom. So none of this is even right whatsoever. They put the total wrong economizer kit in here, as you can see kind of right here with it coming off. So I'll definitely make a note of that, just if that's something they ever want. I think that it was just like a smaller shop that did this work that doesn't normally do commercial work, just on a lot of stuff I've been kind of seeing. Obviously there's no P-trap here, I can see that too. And one thing I started noticing as I've been watching this thing is, you can probably see it a little bit, but that screw right here and right here are loose, and that thing is just wobbling on here, the condensing fan motor. So I'm gonna try to tighten that up. Hopefully those aren't stripped out or anything weird that's making it do that. If it is stripped out, I'll probably write up for a new motor. And then one last thing real quick, I did verify, because when I was getting the strip heat, when it was breaking or tripping the breaker, I was also just checking to make sure fuses and all that were correct. And way I can kind of do that is the model and serial number are listed down here on the strip heat kit, because the strip heat kit usually comes separate from the package unit. And you can kind of go over here, and I was able to kind of see which one it was, and it is for 240 volts. It is an 80 amp max fuse going to just the strip heat portion. If I was at 208 volts, it'd be 70 amp fuses, but everything there looks correct. But this one definitely has a laundry list of issues and things that I'm going to write up, some more critical than others, obviously. So that's what's going on this one. And then my other system over here, when I first got over here, and I've already kind of played around with this, the whole coil was completely encased in ice. It was just a solid block of ice. I could tell just by the sound the fan was making, it sounded terrible. So I saw that, and then I had a call. So like I said, the heat pump was running, it was just iced up. I pulled off the sensors, the condensing coil sensor and the ambient sensor. I did one at a time, and I ohmed them out. If you look in here, it actually lists it pretty good. It's coil and then ambient, so it's this yellow and then the two blacks. I pulled that off, ohmed it out. It ohmed out bad. Actually, both of the sensors ohmed out bad, which I wasn't super surprised on, being the thing was covered in ice. I put the thing into test defrost up here. You can see there's a couple of jumper pins, and there's one that says FRC, DFT, and then test. And I basically touched those together with just a screwdriver. And then it did eventually go into defrost, and it actually went into defrost long enough that it actually melted all the ice on this condensing coil. But with that being said, I usually when I do sensors, I'll do the board, or vice versa. If I'm doing a defrost board, I'll do the sensors. I'm probably going to write up to do the defrost board and sensors all at the same time. I wouldn't want, it's not that much extra to do it all at once, and it's just something that I've found I like to do. I feel like you get less callbacks and little issues. So I'll be doing the defrost board and sensors on this one. But then I also checked, since I had issues with this one, I wanted to see what was going on with this guy, and I had something very similar. This one, it was a little different, but I basically hit my amp clamp on here, had 0 amps, checked my voltage here, and I had 0 volts. And one thing I just want to show you guys, they actually have 2 separate circuits going to these. So you have a circuit that's going to your strip heat, and then a circuit that's going for like your compressor and fan and all that kind of stuff, which comes in right here and ties in there. So you have 2 separate circuits. So it's something that you definitely want to make sure you have power, and also when you're shutting power off, you want to make sure that you're shutting all the power off. So like I said, if you're working on a unit and you have your 2 disconnects, make sure you're killing power to both. If you're doing repairs or working on anything on it. But so I ended up doing the same thing. I went over to my disconnect. It was labeled really well again. It said it was for strip heat, what panel it was at, and all that. I went downstairs and found that the breaker was like half tripped. It was kind of weird, and I turned it off and eventually got it, like same thing, it wouldn't fully reset. I finally got to reset, and it's held power since, and it's turned on and all that. I don't really know. It's in the same panel. The panel looks, like I said, god awful. The breakers look really rough shape in there. I'm probably, like I said, I'll probably write up for this one to have the breaker replaced along with the breakers on that one over there, down at the panel. And then after I kind of investigated this one a little bit more too, sounds like this one just finally satisfied. Actually, now that I got the strip heat and everything kicking on, it's actually satisfying, which is nice. Same thing on this one that was on the other one. They put basically like a downflow economizer on this thing, so it's just super goofy looking. They put the total wrong thing in here. It's supposed to have like a horizontal economizer kit for these trains, and same thing, they didn't put that in this unit. The people who installed it, all my wiring is right here, not ran, which I mean there is no point in running it right now because you can't economize with it. But I can see there's just a lot of parts and stuff that were just stuffed in here. So the right fix for this, you'd pretty much have to do some duct fab and fab in the horizontal setup for the economizer. But I'll write up and make a note of it. I don't know if they're going to want to do it or not, but I don't know what they paid for when they originally got this installed though either. I mean, the company might have told them they were getting an economizer, a working economizer, and definitely doesn't look like that's the case. So that's pretty much what I got going on here. I got, like I said, the two systems are both having some issues keeping it from satisfying in the space, and I feel like now I got it to where it's at least going to satisfy. Got a few little parts I'm going to write up, get all the information off the units, and then see what these guys want to do. But at least they're going to have better heat for the time being, and we're in a little bit of a cold snap here in the Pacific Northwest, so it's going to make these people a lot happier. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and thank you guys for watching.